there are other teams in the NFL, and there is other news that has been popping up in recent days, even though we focused on the conference championship games and the Super Bowl to come. Let's start this hour with the latest that came out over the weekend on Tom Brady. He spoke with Jim Gray of Westwood One for pregame for the conference championship coverage from Westwood One. And he said, I'm open-minded about this looming free agency process. At the same time, I love playing football. I want to continue to play and do a great job. So I'm looking forward to what's ahead. Whatever the future may bring, I'll embrace it with open arms. In the meantime, I'm going to watch these two games today as a fan and enjoy them from my couch. That was Brady to Jim Gray of Westwood One. So, look, I mean, here's the bottom line. His contract is expiring. There's nothing the Patriots can do to keep him other than convince him to sign a new contract. They can't use a right of first refusal, franchise tag, transition tag, none of that. He's gone if he wants to be gone. It's up to him what he wants to do, Chris. And, you know, there's been some speculation about other teams he could play for, but this is going to be one of the big stories of the offseason. Obviously, it reminds me of Peyton Manning back in 2012. Where will Tom Brady go? The only difference is, with Peyton Manning 8 years ago, there was never a thought he was going to go back to the Colts because the Colts were taking Andrew Luck in the draft. Right. There's still that possibility of returning to the Patriots. It is keeping this from becoming a bigger deal. Once that door closes on the Patriots, I think that's when this one explodes.
Yeah, I agreed. There's so many fascinating things here. I think the first thing is, what you learn from these comments and just from the things Brady says is it seems like he's willing to go, right? He's willing to leave town if he has to. There's no doubt about that. I think that's the surprise number one to me. Now, when Josh McDaniels didn't get a head coaching job with one of the 5 vacancies, I thought, ooh, that probably bodes well for us all seeing Tom Brady back in New England one more year. Now, the other thing I think we got to take into account here is, the money situation too. I don't know what Tom Brady's looking for, but if Tom Brady's looking to make like a $35 million a year or, 2-year contract for $70 million, something like that, I don't think that happens in New England. I mean, just my experience with Bill Belichick is if he thinks you're worth 4 cents, he's not giving you 5 cents. He just won't do it. And that's another thing I think where they're not going to bring Brady back unless it's something respectable that they feel like they can build the team around him with at this point in their career. I don't think they're going to go one more year and put themselves deeper into salary cap hell for Brady at 43 years old either. I think Belichick, and even he could sell that to Kraft, who we know loves Brady too. So a lot of different interesting angles in this one.
And there's been reports that no hometown discount this time around, that he wants something closer in line with market value. And look, there's market value and then there's his value. What is he really worth at this point? And in a weird sort of a way, the struggles of the Patriots offense in 2019, Chris, makes Tom Brady less marketable because it raises questions about whether or not he still has it.
Definitely.
Is Father Time breathing down his neck? And in a roundabout way, it may make it cheaper and more feasible for the Patriots to keep him. Because here's what will happen. Even though we're weeks away from the start of free agency, teams are starting to make their plans. And there will be conversations that officially never happened, that definitely do happen behind the scenes between team representatives and Tom Brady's agent, Don Yee, about hypothetically what would be available hypothetically to a hypothetical 42, soon-to-be 43-year-old quarterback who hypothetically may be willing to join a new team, hypothetically. That's how it happens. So you gauge the market that way. You know that this team will pay X. Another team will pay X plus $3 million a year. Another team will pay this. So then they'll know. Before they tell the Patriots no thank you, they'll know what else is out there. That's how it always works. And that's something that may already be happening. It's never going to be announced because it's tampering. It happens all the time. Everybody does it. But, the ultimate decision that will be revealed at some point before the middle of March, it may be far closer to being made than people realize, because I think already teams, if they're smart, if they're interested in Tom Brady, they're going to be making it known somehow, some way, what they are willing to put on the table to get Brady on their team.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I would have a hard time, not believing that there will be one team out there that's going to be enamored with Tom Brady and what he could maybe do for their franchise. And okay, he could still play. Hey, listen, Tom Brady can still win football games and do that. We know that. Tom Brady, the top 10 quarterback in football and all that, that's over. That's done. But you put the right team around him, all right, and, he does know how to play the game. He still has a good arm, and he gives your team belief. I think those are the things that, somebody will get enamored with Brady. Now, who that team is, I don't know. whether that's the LA Chargers or somebody like that. I mean, that's the teams I continue to look at. It makes sense to me there for them trying to make a mark in LA too. But yeah, you're right. These conversations are going to start to be had right around now. The teams that are not in the playoffs and have just started their offseason work and getting the head coach involved and all of that stuff, that's all going to go down over here in the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and it, again, remains to be seen where he goes. But I think the one factor that we need to keep in mind here, because there's been speculation about the Raiders, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders, because he was at the UFC fight on Saturday night. He was talking to Mark Davis. So people start saying, oh, he's going to the Raiders. Look, I don't know how Tom Brady and John Gruden would interact, but I think it would make for a great reality show.
It would.
The factor in this that we need to keep in mind is Mrs. Brady. We've talked about this already. Where does she want to live? I think we are deep into the territory where each additional year that Tommy plays is the product of a negotiation, like any other family, right? That's what makes them the one thing that makes them kind of like the rest of us. If there's anything, just one little thing, there's got to be some give and take between the husband and the wife on big decisions. So where does the wife want to live? Maybe not Boston, Las Vegas. I don't know. I mean, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about how the Colts could use Tom Brady. I don't think Mrs. Brady wants to live in Indianapolis. All due respect to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a factor in this as well, Chris.
Yeah, I agreed. You know, listen, Giselle, Tom Brady. I mean, Tom's a big city guy. He grew up right outside of San Francisco and then went to Boston. Giselle, she's a supermodel. She's, of course, used to being around the scene. So, I mean, to me, it's like, is it New York? Is it Boston? Is it Miami? Is it L.A.? I mean, it's really about as simple as that. It's one of those. I just don't think that, Giselle and Tom Brady are going to move to middle America or the South. And that's no disrespect to those places. I've lived there. I got family there, all of that. I'm just saying it just doesn't add up to me between what we've seen of Tom Brady and Giselle, who are, they're used to they're going to the Met Gala in New York City. They're in a different world of superstar than most of football players. And of course, she's like the number one, supermodel in the world. So yeah, they're not just going to go anywhere.
And it's going to be a place that is on one of the coasts and south, and whether it's Miami, whether it's LA, I feel like it's going to be one of those two destinations.
Too. I do
from the
too.
standpoint of making it all balance within that family structure.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.